Hey guys, it's me Sujo over here. Welcome back to another video. So on this video, I'm going to be talking about top 10 reasons why I will never retire in Vietnam. If you're new to my channel, the name of my channel is called as Sujo in Vietnam. I've been living over here in Vietnam for over 7 years now, and I was an English teacher before for 4 years, and then I started my online digital marketing business, and I'm also a full-time YouTuber. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. So I know that there are a lot of you, you watch my videos, my content, but you have not yet subscribed to my channel. So do me one favor, hit the subscribe button. It takes less than 15 seconds. And that way you can support my work. So let me just have a bit of my coffee. So lately, I've been checking around on the net and also on YouTube regarding retirement here in Vietnam. And, I just want to give my personal perspective, since I've been living over here for like over 7 years now in Vietnam. And, I think I just want to, give my personal point of view and a quick disclaimer. I'm not discouraging you from retire. Discouraging you to, if you're planning to retire out here in Vietnam. Vietnam is a beautiful country. It's a great tourism country. You can a lot of beautiful places to see in Vietnam. A lot of beautiful places to see in Vietnam. A lot of delicious Vietnamese food which you can try out, and of course there's so many different cities in Vietnam, of course Ho Chi Minh City, which is one of the biggest cities out here in Vietnam. Then you can go to Hanoi, Da Nang, Vung Tau, Dalat, and so a lot of different places who are coming for tourism. Yes, Vietnam is a great place to visit. And I also heard somewhere that it's because Vietnam has been ranked the top. I don't know what is that. Slow travel or something. I don't know. I will check that out. But it's for travelers, who want to take their time, who are not in a rush. They can come to Vietnam and they can take their time exploring Vietnam. My itchy nose in the morning. Yeah, so they can take their sweet time to explore Vietnam, provided to travelers, foreign travelers who are not in a hurry. So yeah, so that's a great news. So coming back to my topic about the top 10 reasons why I will never retire in Vietnam. I've listed it out, so I'm going to be giving you point by point, and also give you a bit of my explanation. The number one reason is Vietnam does not have a retirement visa yet. So unlike other Southeast Asian countries, so I'm going to be specifically talking about picking Thailand in this example. Is Thailand does have a retirement visa. They do have these things like the elite visa and all that, which is quite expensive. So at this point, Vietnam does not have any retirement visa. The only way you can come to Vietnam is on a tourist visa. You can come on a 30 days, or you can avail the 3 months visa. If you have a work permit out here in Vietnam, which is actually very difficult to get, you can stay out here in Vietnam, or if you are married to a Vietnamese female. Okay, if you're married to a Vietnamese, but that also is kind of very challenging and risky, because you never know what kind of Vietnamese women are out there on these online dating sites and everything. Maybe they have some intentions. They're just looking for financial transactions, or maybe they want to go abroad or something. Like if you are having one of those preferred passports, like from the US, UK, Australia, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, so that's one option. And of course, if you're married to a Vietnamese, you do get a 5-year TRC card, which is a temporary residency card. But like I would not recommend this right away. I mean, if you're going to be staying out here in Vietnam for at least a year, then maybe you can look into the possibility of finding the right Vietnamese woman for yourself, partner for yourself, and then you can go ahead with the. Then you can maybe you can decide to marry her or whatever. Okay, so the first one is no retirement visa, and of course there's also no digital nomad visa in Vietnam as such, which actually I had mentioned this quite a lot in a couple of my previous videos that Vietnam does not have a digital nomad visa. The second point would be the language barrier. Like unlike in Thailand, like because I've been going on and off to Thailand for over 5 years now, especially in Bangkok. Like apart from the tourist locations out here in Vietnam, like if I'm talking about Ho Chi Minh City, like District One, or if you go to Hanoi, Old Quarters, or whatever, like they're basically catered for tourists, so you will find people who will speak English with you. But if you are going to be venturing outside these districts, chances are, you will have trouble with the communication. Like you go to these local mom and pop stores, or if you go to these pho shops or whatever, you will not be able to. You'll have hard time communicating with them. The best option would be like use a Google Translate or whatever, or have a translation on your phone. So that would be a better option because I remember when I was in Hanoi, I used to go to a couple of these, pho shops and whatever, but they didn't have any menus in English. Everything was written in Vietnamese, and it was kind of very challenging for me. But they did have some pictures of some food items out there, and that kind of helped me. So I would just point my finger over there. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be staying out here in Vietnam, if you're planning to retire over here, you should have some basic knowledge of Vietnamese. If you would like to retire out here. So if you like to retire out here, so yeah, language barrier. It's not like a English speaking country, so that's the reason why there's so many English centers out here in Vietnam, and but I think times are changing. Like I can see that people have started to speak a bit more English out here compared to 2016 when I was back there and when I was back here in Vietnam. So yes, the second one was language barrier. Okay, so let's talk about the third one. The third one would be the healthcare system. I hate to break this. Vietnam does not have the best healthcare system. I mean, take for example, like if you go to if you go to these hospitals over here, these public hospitals and all that. Usually, most of the time, they're very overcrowded, and it's just it's kind of a mess. And of course, these hospitals they lack hygiene standards. They have like poor hygiene, but and like not all expats can afford to go to these expensive private hospitals. Which you do have out here in Ho Chi Minh City, but like majority of the hospitals out here, like they're usually like the popular ones, which I see out here, the public hospitals or whatever, they're usually very overcrowded, so it's kind of not a very pleasant experience if you want to go and get yourself checked up. And of course, you don't know what kind of medications the doctor will administer to you, because maybe your maybe it was different back in your home country where your doctors knew exactly what kind of medications you need for your health. Maybe over here it's kind of different, but if you go to the local pharmacies out here, they're pretty good. They know exactly what kind of medications they can give you. If you have common symptoms like cold and cough, that's fine. But if you have any complex issues or something with your health, I would recommend you make a trip to your home country and go to your local doctor. Because over here it's going to be a bit complicated. All right, so the fourth point would be food hygiene and air pollution. So the air quality index in Ho Chi Minh City is not very good, and of course Hanoi is worse. Because I remember I stayed in Hanoi for 2 months. They had a lot of smog and everything. Now I kind of over time, as I've been living over here for so many years in Vietnam, especially, I've kind of developed this congestion issue which I have, like frequent coughing around. There's no problem with my health. I mean, I do workouts, I do exercise in the evening like 5 times a week or 4 to 5 times a week. I eat healthy. I don't smoke. But the reason why I have this cough issue right now is it's due to my prolonged stay out here in Vietnam, and like congestion, and especially if you're moving around the streets. Like there are lot of two-wheelers out here because Vietnam is predominantly a two-wheeler country. You'll find less of cars, but there are so many two-wheelers, and like so much of pollution being emitted, and of course it's not very good. So you have to always I always wear a mask. So I try to avoid minimal exposure. But yeah, if you're going to be staying out in the countryside, it may be a bit different for you. But I'm going to be coming up with a separate video as to why I don't recommend you staying out here in any Vietnamese countryside. But anyways, and of course, food hygiene. If you're going to be taking street food and all those things out here, if you're going to be um, you don't know, like I've heard stories that, like plastics being like, plastic particles being mixed up with the food, the MSG, it's not too much FDA approved. Like if you're coming from the West, or if you're coming from, like the US, or, any other Europe and all those other countries, like I do understand the importance of food hygiene, but when you're out here in Vietnam, like you're just you're taking chances over here. I mean, it's just like luck. Like if you're gonna eat that food, good luck to you. That are you gonna be all right, or are you gonna be like the sick the following day, or are you gonna have some diarrhea? I mean, I've had like 50% of the time I do get food poisoned out here in Vietnam. Like I've tried sometimes when I eat the pho and all that, you don't know what kind of oil is being mixed up over there. Usually, I mean, I've heard horror stories of some pho shops. They're mixing some other person's bowl of left pho onto a big pot of whatever. I mean, I don't know about that, but it's just that you got to be careful if you're going to be eating out here in Vietnam, unless and until you're going to these expat joints and like you know getting burgers and steaks and all that. That's a different story. But if you're going to be eating like a local out here in Vietnam, trying the local cuisines and everything, just be a bit careful because the food hygiene standard is not good. The fifth one would be legal and administrative hurdles. I can't stress, how difficult it is over here if you want to get a work permit done. Like if you are coming out here, if you're being employed, like if you're going to be teaching English over here, because of course I was an English teacher for many years out here in Vietnam. But yeah, or if you're being sponsored by a company, so the work permits, and also, if you want to get some visa documents done, like if you want to get some long-term visa and all that, there are a lot of hurdles which you have to go through. I mean, there are a lot of red tapes. You do have to spend a bit more money out here. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it's not a very straightforward process. Okay, it's not like everything is laid down step by step. So there are a lot of hurdles. So it's like but it's like, it's not very easy, like if you are an expat and if you're planning to retire out here in Vietnam, especially the visa issues, if you want to get it done. The sixth one would be the traffic. um Hold on, guys. Where is it? Boom. Okay. All right. The next, which point is that? Point number six would be the traffic. All right. The traffic is chaotic, especially if you're going to be going to Ho Chi Minh City or if you're in Hanoi. Hanoi is actually a bit more worse, but it's definitely very chaotic. A lot of two wheelers and everything, and that's the reason why I avoid taking four wheelers or something. Like if I'm going to be taking a Grab or something, which is equivalent to an Uber, I just take these two wheeler Grabs. They can move their way around. But yeah, it's predominantly, like I said, Vietnam is predominantly a two wheeler country. So, but it's like more like an organized chaotic traffic. Like if I understand if you're a first time traveler out here in Vietnam, you're going to have it very challenging if you want to cross the streets. But you just got to take that leap of faith. Then nobody's going to hit you, but it's kind of very intimidating. It still is for me. Many times, when I cross the streets out here, like if I go to District 3 or other locations out here in Ho Chi Minh City, like Tan Binh, Binh Tan District, um, it's kind of a bit intimidating for me if I want to cross the road. So, because I always fear that I'm going to be hit. So, yeah, there's heavy traffic. But like I said, it's predominantly two wheelers over here. Of course, Thailand is also not very. Thailand also has its own share of bad traffic, especially in Bangkok. Because there are a lot of four wheeler cars over there, and there you can really get stuck. I mean, especially especially the evening times if you want to come back home. So yeah, the traffic. Right. The seventh one would be the infrastructure over here. Yes, if you're staying in Ho Chi Minh City, you will find modern infrastructure and everything, but you'll not have metros and everything out here. Like compared to other Southeast Asian countries. So in this case, I'm talking about Thailand, where you do have the metro system, and in Ho Chi Minh City, still you don't have the metro. I don't know when that's going to be finalized. It's been the project has been going on for many years now. But in Hanoi, I have used the metro. It's not very big. It's just like one single line. But yeah, it's not like using the subway station and all that. So yeah, I mean, so it's like the infrastructure, and of course, you will find a bit of um, potholes and all that if you're moving around the streets. So yeah, so it's like don't expect it to be like don't expect it to be like Singapore or like Bangkok City or something. If you're planning to retire, if you're coming from those regions, and if you're planning to retire in Vietnam, if you can, don't expect all that over here. The eighth point would be the political stability, right? But lately, like there have been news about like someone stepping down or whatever. But or like the financial crackdown, the SCB bank case, is like the largest fraud case in the whole world right now. Like it's surpassed um, the Malaysian, what, 1 MDB or something, if I'm right, yeah. But yes, all this actually does impact foreigners expats who want to reside out here in Vietnam long term indirectly. So yes, I mean, because you never know, who's in power out here, or who's stepping down, or who's being charged, or because there's a lot of still, there's a lot of corruption out here. When I'm talking about in general out here in the society, like So yeah, I mean, so that I don't want to get into the details about this. Yeah, so but I hope you get an idea. Okay, the ninth one, which is like, so this is my personal experience: bad customer service. In general, Vietnam does not have a good track record of of good customer service. So like most of the time when I go to a coffee shop, or if I'm going to a restaurant or something, customer service is not good. Like maybe they don't have the idea about this, but it's just that you get a very cold treatment and not very friendly. They don't have much of smiles. In fact, I would say rude to certain extent, which does not make it very appealing for retirees if you're planning to retire out here in Vietnam. Because like if I want to retire in a country in the Southeast Asia, I want to make sure that customer service is also very important for me. I want to make sure I get good customer service so that I feel like this is considered to me. This is considered now to be my retirement home, which unfortunately Vietnam is not. But yes, Vietnam is very close to my heart. But this is not my retirement home because of the customer service, the bad customer service, which I usually get. I think most of these young Vietnamese people who are working in coffee shops and these restaurants and whatever malls and all that, they're not properly trained how to improve their customer service. I mean, don't expect it like in the West where somebody's going to be telling you like, oh, we have this one for special for today. Why don't you try this? Or like, because I was also in Australia for many years, but I know how it was. The customer service standard was definitely very good. I mean, I would say it's you. I mean, even in Philippines, where I stayed, I mean, the customer service was really good. They always smiled and all that. If I would go to Jollibee or Inasal or whatever, I mean, if you're a Filipino watching this, or if you have been living in Philippines, or if you are living in Philippines, you know what I'm talking. Like you get that a lot of Western joints and everything. And of course, if I may add, there are not much of Western restaurants, American restaurants as compared to in the Philippines, because like Philippines has like next level, all like it's like you feel like you're back in US. Like you got all these American fast food joints and everything. Yeah, I would love to go back there because I stayed there for 5 years in Manila. Beautiful. I enjoyed it. Yeah. All right. So the last one, the point number 10, I want to, before I conclude, is so this is going to be a bit sensitive point. I know it's a bit touchy, but I just want to give it out over here. Is Vietnam is not for all foreigners. Okay, like who want to retire. I mean, it's not for all. It's not for all foreigners. There is racism out here in Vietnam, and I said it. Yeah. Yes, Vietnam is a racist country, and I don't deny that. You can check a couple of my previous videos. They're not used to all kind of foreigners, and yes, there is a lot of white privilege over here in Vietnam, especially if you're going to tourist locations out here in Vietnam, like Ho Chi Minh City, District One. Predominantly you have a lot of white tourists and white backpackers. I don't know about Thao Dien, but also in Hanoi. Hanoi is kind of next level, especially if you are staying in old quarters or something. They're not used to all kind of foreigners because I'm from India. I'm a person of color. I do have dark brown skin. I'm not a white foreigner, but I have encountered a lot of second class treatment over here by the locals, and of course from my personal experience, they're not bunch of mixing and friendly people. I'm talking about I mean, in general, for me, from my perspective, the Vietnamese people, um, yeah, so they're not very bunch of mixing and friendly people, and I get constantly being stared at. Like especially people driving their two-wheelers, they will look at you not with a smile, or if I walk down the alley, I get constantly being stared at, or if I'm walking, like people stare at me. But it's just that staring at someone with a smile is a different story altogether, and I'm perfectly cool with that. But like people just staring at you like that with a straight on face, kind of intimidating. So yeah, if I want to retire in Southeast Asia, Vietnam would not be my best option. predominantly, I mean, primarily because of the bad customer service, and of course the racism over here, out here, the racism issue out here in Vietnam. Because of course it's deep ingrained in the Vietnamese society. You know, like they're very fascinated with white skin, and of course, there's a lot of white privilege, so they're extra nice to white tourists, and they're not. They give kind of second class treatments to foreigners who are not, who are especially like Indians, or like we're having like dark brown complexion or whatever. So yes, that is very much prevalent out here in Vietnam. Of course that's there in Thailand, but not that kind of magnitude like it is out here in Vietnam, because like you're experiencing real hand Southeast Asia over here. So yeah, I mean, if I really wanted to retire, I may seriously look into the option of retiring in a bit better, country in Southeast Asia, maybe like Philippines or somewhere in Thailand, but not in Bangkok. So maybe, I may look into Chiang Mai. I know the pollution level is really bad, but somewhere else outside Bangkok, and of course not Pattaya, not or Pattaya, what other foreign expats say. But yeah, so that may be an option. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you planning to retire out here in Vietnam, or which other Southeast Asian country are you planning to retire, and why is that going to be a better option for you? If you like watching this video, make sure to like my video. If you found my video to be informative, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. And if you're traveling around in Southeast Asia and you want to start a successful online business, you can check out my income stream website down in the description below. So this was me, Sujoy. Peace out.